pretty clear skies today. Although it is the end of the month almost, it's been going by so fast. Although with that in mind, what was going on today around the world, it seems like there's a lot of conflict-related news. How about this first one relates to that story with Taiwan and China. And in regards to, I guess, that drone that they saw before, where they say they're being harassed, Taiwan that is. It says Taiwan's military fires warning shots at Chinese drone. Taiwanese officials said warning shot fired Tuesday evening near the Iranian islet. So they're getting serious. It says Taiwan fired warning shots at a Chinese drone which buzzed on an offshore islet on Tuesday, shortly after President Tsai Ing-wen said she had ordered Taiwan's military to take strong countermeasures against what she termed Chinese provocations. It was the first time warning shots had been fired in such an incident amid a period of heightened tension between China and Taiwan, which Beijing views as its own territory. Taiwan strongly disputes China's sovereignty claims. The drone headed back to China after the shots were fired, a military spokesperson said. Taiwan has complained of Chinese drones repeatedly flying very close to small groups of islands it controls near China's coast, most recently by the Kinmen Islands, as part of military drills by Beijing. China carried out large-scale military exercises around the island after a visit by U.S. House Representatives Speaker Nancy Pelosi earlier this month, which raised tensions between the superpowers. Let's see what happens here, and according to this, I guess China's response is pretty much saying there should be no issue or something like that. And still with warlike tensions, how about this one? It says U.S. Navy foils Iranian attempt to capture unmanned vessel in Arabian Gulf. So this wasn't an air drone, it sounds like it's more in the sea. It says while transiting international waters around 11 p.m., August 29th, U.S. 5th Fleet observed IRGCN support ship Shahid Baziar towing a sail drone explorer unmanned surface vessel in an attempt to detain it. U.S. Navy patrol coastal ship USS Thunderbolt was operating nearby and immediately responded. U.S. 5th Fleet also launched an MH-60S Seahawk from the helicopter Sea Combat Squadron 26 based in Bahrain. The actions taken by U.S. naval forces in response resulted in the IRGCN vessel disconnecting the towing line to the USV and departing the area approximately 4 hours later. The U.S. Navy resumed operations without further incident. Yeah, again, it just seems like all over the world there's so much war-related tensions, especially using things like drones and all that, whether it be land, air, or sea, I guess. And then how about this crazy story I read today? Was it just a situation of the parents being way too stubborn into their own, I guess, beliefs? It says here, vegan mom gets life in prison for starvation death of son. A vegan woman convicted of murder in the malnutrition death of her young son was sentenced Monday to life in prison. Sheila O'Leary, 38, whose family followed a strict vegan diet, was convicted in June on 6 charges: first-degree murder, aggravated child abuse, aggravated manslaughter, child abuse, and 2 counts of child neglect in the death of Ezra O'Leary. Her sentencing in Lee County, Florida, had previously been postponed 4 times. And I guess according to this, her husband is in jail as well, awaiting trial for the same issue. And it says the family ate only raw fruits and vegetables, although toddler also was fed breast milk. The 18-month-old boy weighed 17 pounds and was the size of a 7-month-old baby when he died in September 2019, a police report said. And it says they also have 2 other children, aged 3 and 5, who are also malnourished. Wow, that's kind of crazy. I actually know there are some people who've grown up, I know them personally, who ate nothing but, for example, vegetables and all that. So it makes you wonder, is it possible? Like, what did they do that was extremely different, I guess you could say? Actually, in the past, I actually thought a vegetarian and a vegan were the exact same thing, whereas there is a difference. For example, I believe a vegan wouldn't eat things like a dairy product, where a vegetarian could. But it makes you think, in these situations, if this was your child and you see they're clearly malnourished and they're not surviving, would you still hold on to your, I guess, beliefs in that sense? Or will you start giving them things like, just for example, I don't know, dairy or meat as an example? Or no, will you just stick to your guns? And then how about this? For apparently on the site crypto.com, I guess where they handle things like cryptocurrency, apparently they made a huge error in terms of transferring funds. Like this one says crypto.com accidentally transfers 10.5 million to women instead of $100. Wow, I guess that's an accident they're happy about, huh? But because of that, apparently she had to give it back. But the odd thing, according to this, the company didn't know they made that error until several months later. So since then, they actually spent the money buying, I believe, according to this, a house, for example. So they took them to Supreme Court, and ultimately they have to pay them back. And they say for the house themselves, I guess the judge, like here says, but now a judge has ordered the property be sold and with orders made for the remaining money to be returned. Makes you think too, even legally, I know here anyways, if let's just say a retail store made an error, they sold you something at a certain price, they shipped it to you, you opened it, then technically you can't really go back to them and say, hey, you owe us, like, I don't know, an extra $100 or $1,000 because it's an error. Whereas in this case, I don't know, maybe there's more technicalities because there's more money and so forth, but still, what would you do in that situation? Come to think of it, if they just, I guess, invested it in something where they got interest or something like that, then technically they would be able to keep the interest correct out of that much money. But yeah, imagine getting that windfall per se. Alright, see you guys later.